At the same time, in Russia and China, Topol and Dongfeng missiles were also rising into the sky. The scene resembled a doomsday scenario, but Cheng Xin could tell by the curvature of the rocket trails that these were orbital launches instead of intercontinental strikes. These devices, which could have killed billions, would never return to the surface of the Earth. They would pool their enormous power to accelerate a feather to 1% of the speed of light. Cheng Xin's eyes filled with hot tears. Each ascending rocket lit them up like bright, glistening pools. She told herself again and again that no matter what happened next, it was worth it to have pushed the staircase program this far. But the two men beside her, Vadimov and Wade, seemed unmoved by the spectacular scene playing out before them. They didn't even bother looking up. Instead, they smoked and conversed in low voices. Cheng Xin knew very well what they were discussing. Who would be chosen for the staircase program? The last session of the PDC marked the first time a resolution had been passed based on a proposal that wasn't even written down, and Cheng Xin got to witness the debating skills of Wade, usually a man of few words. He argued that if we assumed the Trisolarans were capable of reviving a body in deep freeze, then it made sense to assume they were also capable of reviving a bare brain in similar condition and conversing with it through an external interface. Surely such a task was trivial for a civilization capable of unfolding a proton into 2 dimensions and etching circuits over the resulting surface. In some sense, a brain was no different from the whole person. It possessed the person's thoughts, personalities, and memories, and it most definitely possessed the person's capacity for stratagems. If successful, the brain would still be a ticking bomb in the heart of the enemy. Although the PDC members did not fully agree that a brain was the same as a whole person, they lacked better choices, especially since their interest in the staircase program was largely based on the technology for accelerating the probe to 1% of light speed. In the end, the resolution passed with 5 yeses and 2 abstentions. Once the staircase program was approved, the problem of who should be sent came to the forefront. Cheng Xin lacked the courage to even imagine such a person. Even if his or her brain could be captured by the Trisolarans and revived, life afterwards, if such an existence could be called life, would be one interminable nightmare. Every time she thought about this, her heart felt squeezed by a hand chilled to -200 degrees Celsius. The other leaders and implementers of the staircase program did not suffer her pangs of guilt. If PIA were a national intelligence agency, this matter would have been resolved long ago. However, since PIA was only a joint intelligence committee formed by the permanent member nations of the PDC, after the staircase program was revealed to the international community, the issue became extremely sensitive. The key problem was this. Before launch, the subject would have to be killed. After the initial panic of the crisis subsided, a mainstream consensus gradually dominated international politics. It was important to prevent the crisis from being leveraged as a tool to destroy democracy. PIA personnel were instructed by their respective nations to be extra careful during the process of selecting potential staircase program subjects and not commit political errors that would embarrass their countries. Once again, Wade came up with a unique solution to the difficulty, advocating through the PDC and then the UN the passage of euthanasia laws in as many countries as possible. But even he wasn't confident that this plan would work. Of the 7 permanent members of the PDC, 3 quickly passed euthanasia laws. But these laws all clearly provided that euthanasia was only available to those suffering terminal illnesses.